Oh shit. Okay.
Give me,
Oh, shit.
say, welcome to chatWater, the show where we chat everything Waterboy, the Adam Sandler movie. This is a bit of a pivot from what we've been doing before.
And that's our show. That's it. We're done. We're canceled forever. We're forever canceled.
We're only going to talk.
Okay, Mondays is chatWater. Tuesdays is Chatty Madison. Oh God.
No, we can't keep going on with this bit. We can't. Welcome to chatWater.
Help me out, Yanis. I'm looking for a riff on Little Nicky.
No.
Where we talk everything.
Wednesdays is Chat and Jill.
Oh my gosh.
Thursdays go. You keep doing the thing. I'll get to it.
Tuesdays is Little Nicky. Wednesdays is where we chat everything Dave, the TV show about the rapper Lil Dicky.
Wait, what?
Have you not seen Dave?
No, I'm just a Lil Dicky fan.
Okay, so Dave is a show.
What is this intro?
Dave is a TV show about
There's no
the rapper
joke
Lil
there,
Dicky.
Yanis. There's no joke.
We haven't even started, and we're already derailed. This was supposed to be a nice intro, and you all just ruined it.
We're like, if you're gonna say Dave, it's gonna be like talking with Dave. Like we're doing like that. That was the joke that we do. We do talky puns with Adam Sandler. Why did you say Lil Dicky? That was such a non sequitur.
You said Lil Nicky.
Yeah, because it's an Adam Sandler film.
Okay.
Where were you in 2004?
I'm playing outside of your box.
No, play in this space.
Can we get on track, please, boys? Welcome to chatWater, where we chat all things Blackwater. Oh my gosh, do I have to host the intro now as well?
No, it's fine. Sorry, let me hop in.
Okay.
Welcome to chatWater. Thursdays will be Chat Drunk Love, where we talk all
my
things.
God, I'm going to throw you out of this Zoom call so fast. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We're gonna start. We were just about to start chatting about
50 hot takes.
50 hot takes.
That's actually not bad.
That's it. I'm gonna leave now.
We just have hot takes about Adam Sandler films.
I feel like it's similar to this. Like I feel like Sean has to rewatch. I feel like Sean has to rewatch all the streams like Drew Barrymore does in the movie to remember where he's at before he goes into the next session.
Every morning, we have 30 things up, each about 3 hours. Every morning, I watch 90 hours of D&D and come up and kiss my husband, who's a walrus marine biologist.
Absolutely.
I'm
just really trying to keep you on track. Speaking of the last session, oh my gosh, your face at the end, Sean, was so sad. It was so sad. Tell me about your sadness.
Gosh, I mean,
tell me about your sadness.
It was almost as sad as when I walked out of the film Rain Over Me with Adam Sandler. That
I'm gonna throw. You freaking. I tried.
I didn't realize how many Adam Sandler films have been rolling around in my head.
I'm trying really, really hard to.
Sean's just a little punch drunk and he loves it.
Do you ever just stop and realize how much mental real estate you've given up to Adam Sandler? Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous 6. I can't.
Oh my God. I hate both of you so much.
Look. All right, I'll tell you how I felt. I'm going to drop some uncut gems, real hot takes here about
50 of them.
I'm so glad we're not shooting in studio because I would be in range of slapping by Emma.
Yeah.
I'm recoiling from my computer so she can't
just
get
the
me.
slap is going to come right through. Welcome to chatWater, where we're actually going to talk about our last session because, oh my goodness, gosh. Your sadness. Tell me about your sadness, Sean.
Oh, yeah. So Letters has a 9 in charisma.
Which is shocking to me because
no, not charisma. Excuse me, wisdom. He's got a 13 in charisma, a 9 in wisdom, and so just for all the uninitiated, a 10 across the board is your average human being. And wisdom is like your street smarts, how well you can, spot things, how well you can judge a character. And so just a
kind of knowing if someone is just sus, like they're just not good.
And Letters has just never been at that, but what he lacks in what he lacks in wisdom, he makes up for in enthusiasm and like selling power. And so if I just decide that like letters like this seems fine, then I just stick to it, and I never realized because I just you know me, I'll commit to the bit, and so like and then I wasn't ready for like when that bit inevitably bites me in the ass.
Oh yes.
Oh, that hurts for realsies.
This whole time I was like, Volketh's not a good guy. He's just not a good guy. I can't trust him, and it's not because of like Neppy. I was just like, Neppy doesn't trust this guy. She just doesn't. She just cannot trust this guy. I was
deciding
like, so protective of letters, and she was just like, he's gonna get himself hurt, and I can't.
Yeah, because she's got a 20 in wisdom.
Yeah, she does.
She's very wise. To trust Volketh has just been the greatest exercise in like doublethink and like benefit of the doubt and devil's advocating that I've ever undergone. Because like when she's like, I don't trust him, I'm like, I see why you don't, and that's valid. But like when I give the whole speech, like, Neppy, we gotta talk about this. Like, this is the thing we have to talk about. You and me, Neppy.
You were so sweet. I was like, really? This is the hill you're gonna die on? Really, right here? This is your dying hill? I mean, okay, for you, letters, I will give him the benefit of the doubt.
Not for me. Not for me.
Yeah, she didn't do that for a second. Like, she loves letters to the end of the earth and back, and was like, I still don't trust him. Sorry.
This is the D&D I really want to develop. Now, I feel like we've gotten to like the deep interconnected D&D, and that's rad.
Yes.
But I want deep interconnected, and then building off of that, all the petty differences that would drive us up the wall if we weren't
real humans,
like saving the planet. Like if we all just had to literally share a house. Like if our characters were in lockdown and just had to deal with each other for like 2 weeks, where would the divisions come from? That's the hot shit that I'm on next. The petty annoyances.
I'm trying to think what all of our characters would do in lockdown. I mean, Neppy would just have the same routine every day, and you could like probably predict where she's going to be in the house based on what time of day it is. Like, and that would be, she would just do her routine, and that would be great. And she would be so happy about that entire process.
There would be a civil war between the Garden Gals and the Gravel Boys.
There would be. The house would be divided. There would be lines on everything. Like,
I feel like Neppy, Kokanee, and Yana would probably just be pretty much like doing their own thing.
Oh yeah, they're consummate homebodies.
Yeah, they wouldn't really be like. I think Callie would be going stir crazy.
Yeah, especially if she couldn't see Kimea.
Especially if Kimea wasn't there. But I think Letters and Finnan would fight all the time. Like
both on purpose and not on purpose.
Exactly.
Like there would be like fighting. Like I feel like that's when Finnan's actual Gravel Boy initiation would happen, because he would just wear Letters down, and Letters would just be like, fucking fine. You want to do this right now? We'll go downstairs right now in the fucking pit. Gravel Boys, let's go.
I think, I don't know who'd start it. It could be kind of between Finnan, Callie, even Yana and myself. A prank war would start, and it would start very small, and it would escalate very quickly.
And it would be so bad, and Neppy would be like, why are we doing this? We can't. No, please, somebody's going to burn our fucking house down. You please don't light the house on fire.
And M's reaction would be very much like her reaction to how we started the show today.
Just like, please.
Why are you doing this to me?
Why are you doing this to me? Feel like I like my house, please.
Could just check out. She could just summon her magnificent mansion and go into her own personal quarantine within the quarantine.
Yeah, Yana would like lock herself in her tower and then just put the marvelous mansion in her room and just be like, bye. Like I need not only my own tower with my own library, but my own plane of existence to get away from you guys. I'm gonna go read for 2 weeks. See you later.
I'm gonna hang out with my ghosts that have to do whatever I tell them.
Yeah, Yanis and Cody hanging out with Yana and the Magnificent Mansion.
That's right, because Ted has been forever demoted, sent away because he's a bad service. Fuck Ted. Fuck that guy. Man, I think that I loved the conversations between Callie and Neppy and Kokanee and Finnan. I think that was one that definitely needed to happen. Mm-hmm. Just like, it's so wonderful to see like those beautiful moments where the characters, that's why I love a watch. I love a watch, because you can just basically, because Lennon had messaged me and was like, can we do watch? And I was like, yes, we can. So I think those moments are so nice for like those little character development moments. And the second that Callie started being like, I'm afraid of dying, I was like, we're going to get into this. Let's talk about death. Let's do it. Like, I was like, that was such a, for Neppy, just being like someone who's so comfortable with the thought of dying and being around the presence of death, to be able to like comfort her friend about death in the hole. I was like, this is good. This is a good thing. I'm just loving.
Also, like, just from like a guy who's been playing D&D forever, someone just like really wrestling with the wildly different lifespans of D&D characters.
Yes.
I was like, oh God, I love that. Like,
totally. And when she was like, either I'm going to outlive Kimea by a little bit, or she's going to outlive me by a lot, with like the fact that Kimea could become like an archdruid, I was like, oh, my heart, just take it out of my chest.
Yeah, like, because if in D&D, if you're an elf and you're like, oh man, I'm in love with a human, that's basically like, you're like, oh, I'm marrying a person who ages in dog years. Like, yeah. You're like, oh man, I'm gonna have a great decade with this person. Like,
yeah.
Ugh.
Well, that was like the whole, like with Kokanee and Neppy too, because tieflings live around 40 years longer than humans do. So like when they first got together, I was like, she is going to outlive him, just like by a lot. And that is something that she's going to have to be prepared to be without him. Like by saying yes to this whole relationship, she is going to have to be okay with the fact that there will be a time where she cannot be with him, because she's not someone to like, if he dies, she wouldn't take her own life. That's not something she would do, but she would be like, okay, now I just got to wait, I guess, and know that I'm going to see him again one day. And now their lifespans are a little bit more matched up, which is nice, because his life got extended with the faith forging. So they'd probably be about pretty in sync with lifespans at this point too. But yeah.
I was charmed that Callie was worried about Letters dying, because Letters will outlive every just one of you. Like, yes, his natural, life expectancy is just around 30, but
the man, the myth, the legend,
baby, like.
Just I thought you meant gonna dabble into lichdom, like what? Like,
look, I can't go into specifics, but he does have plans.
I thought you meant you were going to murder everyone, so that you were definitely the last one to go out.
All I'm saying is I'm the only member of the party who hasn't died. Like, no one's had to bring me back, as far as I can tell. Like, everyone else has dropped below 0 and needed to get popped back.
Not in-game, but Neppy has. Neppy's died once, but not in-game.
There you go. Like, Letters is tough.
Letters
tough
has never died?
No.
Never died. He's maybe passed out once or twice.
You made 2 death saves. That was the closest you've been. And that was in the mansion when we fought Velsum. That was the closest you've ever been to dying.
Me, Yanis have made 2 death saves. That's that's nothing.
I made 2 death saves like every other weekend in college. Like, that's fine.
Adam is on like a steady death save and a half. Just like a consistent death save and a half.
Saves. Yeah. No, I know, like, Lennon and I have talked before too about the fact that like Clack is going to just be at all of our funerals, and that guts me. That just sweet little Petch is going to be at everybody's funeral, because I think who's probably going to live the longest other than Clack? Probably be Callie. I don't know how long ASMR and Letters, but like how long ASMRs live. I don't remember what ASMR lifespan is.
One of these days, Finnan's gonna have a vision of Relalvin, and like in the background, Clack's just gonna be hanging out there, and Finnan's gonna be like, Relalvin, and he's like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I used to plane jump back in the day.
Oh, ASMRs are about the same as humans. What are gnome lifespans? Yana's gonna outlive us all.
It's like 600.
Oh yeah. So Yana's gonna outlive us all. She's already like 60 odd equivalent.
Yeah, she's the equivalent of 10 human years.
I will say, just back on like appreciating last episode, that I have such an affinity for Matt's play style and character portrayal of Kokanee, in terms of like, he could host a masterclass of picking your moments.
Yes.
Because like, he's so quiet, and even like, he's just like, yeah, I'll do a thing with Finnan, and then he just has the conversation needs to be had, and like with just the most poignant like questions. Like, and I'm just sitting there like, oh fuck, because like so often he's like actively taking a back seat. Like it is always a choice with Matt. He just like sits and waits.
Yes.
And it's like,
I think that's also Matt as a person too. Matt is very great at picking moments, and
it's like hanging out with an empathetic trapdoor spider. Like awesome.
It scares me to ever get in a real conversation with Matt because I don't know if I want that emotional journey like at that time. Like if
you gotta buckle up.
If I ever found myself alone in a room with Matt, I'd be running for the door. I'd be like, no, I can't do it right now. Nope.
I wasn't ready. I didn't.
No, walls can't come down right now.
No, I think that's one of the things that I think has been so beautiful about Kokanee character development, like seeing him from the beginning, like that conversation never could have happened before, like where Kokanee is now, and like him taking the role of, you know, kind of like that. He is so stoic, but also is so compassionate and empathetic and seeks for people to find the richness and joy in life so that they don't have to live in the shadow of what they might have been in the past. And I think that's really beautiful to sit there with this young boy who is trying desperately so hard to be a man, but also misses some semblance of childhood that he never had, and be like, it's okay. I understand. I was there. I'm just, when, you know, he said that, he's like, I'm just a couple years down the road from you. And I was like, oh man, that's so true. Cause like, you know, and because Kokanee likely was in a little bit of a different situation, obviously, but very much there with Finnan having to take this weight of the world on his shoulders and not liking what he's doing, but having to do it because someone could literally kill him otherwise. This is some good fucking D&D. It's just some good D&D.
Also, like, deeply embarrassed Finnan is so great.
Is my favorite.
And we need to see more of it. I've never been so invested in his relationship with Trixie.
Oh, I am so invested. I'm so invested. Also, Neppy's very invested. She's like, this is a really good thing to happen for my priest, my acolyte. And this is a good thing, and we should have this happen.
I will say this, little peek behind the curtain. I have prepared sending for... well, I guess start of the day, I already sent to Volketh, but I did prepare sending. Just on the off chance that Trixie came up again.
I always have sending prepared. It is one of my daily prepared spells. So that just at any point, it's just like, oh, you'd like to talk to her? Why don't I just do that right now for you? Me, the high priestess, calling and saying, because I don't know if Adam remembers this, but Trixalia asked for a transfer to Wolfreen. So
did she?
She did. She asked to be transferred to Temple Caracal in Wolfreen.
Goodness.
I think Oftish approved the transfer, to my knowledge. She had a bit of wanderlust. Yeah, I know she wasn't going to Asenonyx in Dresda. She'd asked to go to
I wonder what's in Wolfreen that she's looking for.
I wonder. the big
weather,
the city, the cold.
Okay, this brings up a different question. How old is Trixie?
Well, she would probably be I guess it depends, probably 15, 16, somewhere there.
Nice.
Okay.
About the same age.
Very appropriate.
Very appropriate.
Well, because if she's still an acolyte, she hasn't had her Zaron yet.
But I just, you were saying that tieflings age differently.
They, not particularly, they just live longer. They
don't
necessarily live.
Most of the playable races age at the rate of humans, the exception being orcs age a little faster, and goblins age a little faster.
Yeah.
But pretty well everyone hits adulthood around
age.
16, 17.
Yeah. But no, she would be probably 15-ish, 15, 16. Because she wasn't a priestess yet. She's still an acolyte. So, she probably would have headed to Wolfreen, either been made a priestess and then headed to Wolfreen, or still an acolyte and headed to Wolfreen. All I know is that I ship it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it perpetually. I was going back and trying to remember what she looked like. I think she's pink. She's pinky. She has pinky colored skin.
I can't remember at all. Yeah, in my head, I think I mixing up her with like Oftish or something, because I'm like,
right.
White hair, like gray skin, like that's Oftish, right?
Oftish is like white skin with like dark black horns that kind of go up with like gray black hair, and she has like fully black eyes. That's Oftish.
I think I was just kind of like imagining like a ooh Oftish, and that was kind of my Trixie. Ooh.
No, Trixie's pink, because I remember Tim saying that like when she blushed like her blush was like a crimson. It was so red when she blushed. Yeah, because I was also thinking this too. Grape Nub isn't that old either. Grape Nub is probably like young, because she's still an acolyte.
Just picking on like a 15-year-old
girl. 16,
girl.
17 maybe.
Yeah, but I feel like she's slow. Like she was held back a couple years. She's pushing 18, 19.
Yeah, I mean, priestesses are titled in their own time when they're ready. Maybe she's just not ready to be titled
Grape Nub is not ready.
Is their couple name going to be Frixie?
Ooh.
Or Trinan?
No, Trinan sucks. Frixie is awesome.
Frixie's awesome. No, because her name, what's her name? Trixalia, isn't it?
Trixalia.
Yeah.
Frixalia?
Frixalia? No,
Phoenix. No, that's too hard to say.
Frixie is perfect.
Frixie's perfect. Yeah.
I ship Frixie.
We ship it. Well, today we're going to be talking about some
we should
NPCs.
Roll an intro.
Let's roll that in. Let's roll that intro.
Let's do some NPCs.
Heyo.
And we're back.
Also, shout out to Cody every time, who is so quick when we're just like, and there's no segue. We're just jumping right into the intro. So I'll just do some quick announcements here before we dive into some NPCs. A big thank you to our sponsors, Fairy Dragon Dice. Keisha is amazing, and she has made us some beautiful polyhedral dice. Please go check her out at fairydragon_dice on Instagram. She has some new dice up in her shop, so if you want some of her dice in your dice hoard, you can go make that happen. So go check them out over at her Instagram with links to her shop. Tiana, our amazing, wonderful, fantastic artist who we love to the end of the earth and back. She creates most, if not all, of the art that you see of us. So if you like anything that she does, you can check her out at miss._Marston on Instagram. Her commissions are open, so if you want to get some beautiful art made, one of the mods, Kayoka, had some art made from her. We shared it on our Instagram story. Mwah, so beautiful. Please go check her out and commission her to make your D&D character, or just like any type of art that you want. She's wonderful to work with. And then our amazing sponsors at Silverwing Armory, makers of fine RPG paper products. They have a partnership going on right now with Grimbeard Leather. Pre-orders are in the process of being made. So if you want to get your hands on their Lore Keepers bundle, you can fit a notebook, pens, a tablet, all that kind of good stuff in there. Head on over to Silverwing Armory on Instagram or on their Etsy page, and you can order that stuff. And if you like anything that you see, enter the code Blackwater at checkout for 10% off. And then Legendcraft, our best friends Ben and Reg, are just the loveliest guys, and they are the makers of wood products for your RPG gaming experience. They've got tables, they've got rolling rods, they've got shelves, all that kind of good stuff. Go check them out, legendcraft.ca. And if you like anything there and it tickles your fancy, enter the code Blackwater at checkout for 5% off. And our wonderful makers will be coming back on Wednesday for the Makers One Shot Part 2, where they get to figure out what is going on with the Mountain King's table, and maybe get a little bit more lore. There's going to be lots of lore bombs dropped in there, just like there was last time. And I think they'll probably tie into our current story. So I'm excited to watch. Keisha's going to be there. Tiana and Ben, also accompanied by the wonderful and lovely Jen, playing characters that they have created for a in-canon one-shot, DM'd by the amazing and incomparable Tim Carlson. So come hang out with us on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, right here on our Twitch channel. More information on our Instagram, so go check that out. And subscriptions. If you are someone who subscribes to us, thank you very much. We love you, love you, love you. And we are kindly reminding you to re-up your subscriptions. It helps us do what we do. We have a lot of amazing projects in the works right now, and subscriptions help us do that. They help us put out content. They help us do things and purchase things that we need to help bring better stuff to you. So we're big thank you. We're still in September, so if you want to subscribe to a bunch of different shows for a discounted rate, you can do that. Use if you enter !September in the chat, there's links on how to do that kind of good stuff. And I think that's it. Also, I want to give a big shout out to a fantastic nerd company that I have supported over at Kickstarter, and we're not sponsored by them, but I love their stuff. The folks over at WeirdWorks have created a brand new Adventurers Tarot card deck. It's called the Empress deck, and it is like beautiful tarot cards and divining cards. So they have it's like a bard. And it's gold foil, and they're so pretty. So if you are someone who likes tarot like me, go check out their pre-orders. They're just really beautiful and are a very amazing complement to your Rider-Waite deck, if that is something that means anything to you. So yeah, just shouting out to cool creators. And we're hoping to bring in some tarot to character development. So if you have any characters that you would like me to do a tarot reading for, you just let me know, and I'm happy to do that for you.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah. I have an announcement that I just thought of.
John, yeah.
While I was listening to you. Something that I'm working on with Adam for reasons that will become clear later is we are creating a physical real world Blackwater Bar and Grill happy hour menu.
Yes.
And so I would love, because we've got scrambled eggs, we've got stone ale, a desert in your mouth, we've got all these deep fried granite, we've got in the stream we've had all these in canon sassy genasi drinks and foodstuffs that's served at the bar and grill. We'd love to commit some of them to paper. And so if you've got any ideas or that sounds kind of funny and is dumb and I like it, please send it along, and it might make its way onto our lovely happy hour menu.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait. We also don't have a logo for the Blackwater Bar and Grill. That'll
come.
I'm excited. Yeah,
if any of you are graphic designers,
anyone want to come hang out with us?
Give us a logo. We might use it. I don't know.
I've also we've been hearing rumblings for a very long time from you wonderful folks out there who support us, the Gravel Boys, that Blackwater Bar and Grill t-shirts are a very highly sought after commodity, and people keep asking us when we're going to be doing merch, and the answer is I want to do that so soon, but we have to look at ways to make that sustainable.
Yeah, if it was up to me, it would have been the day before yesterday. All of us want to create merch. That's something we want. I
want sticker packs already. I want sticker packs. I want coffee cups. I want t-shirts.
I'll show you my favorite piece of merch I've ever purchased from a show is from the Adventure Zone Amnesty. I got this keychain, the Cryptonomica.
Yeah, that's rad.
So it's
it's kind of swag.
Yeah, it's like that hotel, the old school hotel keychains. I love that.
That's so good.
Swag is the best.
So yeah, let's dive into NPCs. But if you've got any fun ideas to put on the Blackwater Bar and Grill happy hour menu, appies, drinks, cocktails,
throw them up in the chat with the hashtag happy hour, and I will catch them after the stream and pass them over to Sean and Adam.
Or throw it into the Instagram and we'll look at it there.
Okay, let's talk about NPCs.
What's an NPC, Emma?
A non-player character, Sean.
But I'm a playable character. I don't understand. What?
Well done.
Break that down for me.
Okay, so we've actually already had the first part of this discussion where we talked about a bunch of the NPCs in the Blackwater universe. So NPCs are characters that have either been created by us as players as kind of side characters in our backstories, or characters that have been created by Tim to kind of to flesh out the world, and it's a living, breathing thing with all of these wonderful people in it. And these names are often ones we throw around all the time, but it's good to delve a little bit into their histories, because something that I really love about this world is that this world exists without Blackwater. I mean, mean, I don't know if it's still together, but like at this point, like there are people who are existing in the world who have lives that don't involve us a lot of the time. And these are not necessarily villains, but we can talk about some of the villains in here, but people we've come across who are friendly or kind of neutral towards us. And we're going to chat villains when we start actually going into story arcs, which is next week. We're actually, this is like episode, 21? So we're 21 weeks into doing this show, and we have yet to talk about an arc in like an entirety. We're going to start talking next week about like the very first few sessions that we played together as a party. Maybe we'll get there. Maybe chatWater will maybe get there.
So you're saying NPCs are anybody who we, the party, do not play. It's all those juicy people that Tim throws at us.
Yes.
That's what you're saying?
Absolutely.
So even Clack is an NPC. He's part of the party, but he's not one of the player characters.
Yes.
NPC?
Okay. And I think something that's been really cool about the way Tim's played Clack is he doesn't play him as a DM PC. So it's not like Tim helming a player character that exists within the party, like that is not necessarily like equal to the other players, but Clack is a character in his own right, but he acts and acts of his own volition, but really the party takes the lead, and like Clack does kind of get an initiative order, but it really he often acts on Letters' turn and stuff like that. So
yeah, I worked really hard to make sure that Clack wasn't like a combat entity. Clack basically gets like Clack allows Letters to have like an extra bonus action every 5 combats.
Every couple combats.
Like if part players are dying, then like there's like he's like a maybe Deus Ex Machina. Like even by virtue of his number 1 weapon is completely random.
Yes.
Like,
and we don't even know what it does now with the Rod of Wonder, because we haven't even seen it go off. He hasn't used it yet. And like Clack can die.
He's just a walking Hail Mary. Yeah.
Clack can die. So he was on death saves. He was on a 3rd death save once. And he rolled a natural 20. So I mean he popped back. So maybe he can't die. But like I really like that he's not a DMPC, that he's a sidekick. And I know there are rules around sidekicks, but that's not how
we threw those out the fucking window.
We threw those out the window because we homebrew this universe because we can. Okay, so I feel like we should probably talk about the NPC du jour from the last session that everyone is asking questions about. We've been getting some questions over the Instagram, and a lot of people in the last chat were like, I don't know who this guy is, but whoa, what the shit is going on? Volketh. So let's talk about Volketh. So Sean, tell me what you know about Volketh.
Okay, so the Letters
and Sean is invested in Volketh, and I can imagine that he may, faff about with this story a little bit, but there's a lot of history between Letters and Volketh. So I'm
Letters' history of Volketh is long and storied. So upon meeting another wonderful NPC, Adonis, for the first time,
who we've talked about before.
Bizarre little shop, and who we've seen in the one-shots and whatnot. Adonis gave Letters a ring of mind shielding.
And that was in session 36. So like
60 some episodes ago.
70 episodes ago. And that session occurred on July 24th of 2019. So over a year ago is when the party first came to know Volketh. So go ahead, Sean.
And so the Ring of Mind Shield is a wonderful item. What it does is it allows you. It's impossible to read your character's mind. It's also impossible to discern that character's race, gender, like anything about them. So if you're like disguised as something else, then people can't like
suss you out.
Get you. Yeah. But importantly, if you die whilst wearing the Ring of Mind Shielding, your consciousness goes into the ring while your body dies, so you stay alive. And so when I got the ring and cast investigate or identify on it, I was like, oh fuck. And so I sort of like held up the ring, and Letters sort of reaches into the ether, is like, hello. And there's this voice on the other side, Volketh, who
starts speaking
Undercommon, which Letters does not speak. However, the language of music is universal, and so I started. We couldn't talk back and forth, but Letters starts out like a do 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 do.
And he goes, dude.
Yeah, and so that's how we started.
So that was in Svelen, and we were just on our way to go to deal with Baron von Kron with Callie. Mm-hmm. So this was like ages and ages ago. This would have been over a year ago in game for sure.
Was Finnan part of the group at that point?
Yes. Yes,
and
he was.
And had he switched to Relauven from Dave at that point?
No, he was still with Dave at that point. For everyone who doesn't know, Dave is not actually Finnan's previous patron's name.
I didn't know that.
No. Finnan's previous patron referred to himself as his will, and was a somewhat celestial entity of Paylor, a very, very powerful celestial entity who was dedicated to Paylor. So for a long time, Finnan, like in his youth, kind of just thought he was a paladin. So he was just like, I'm a holy warrior. I am here to, fight Paylor. And then all of a sudden was like, holy crap, what is this magic eldritch blasting that I can do, and why is there somebody talking inside my head? And his will was pretty vindictive and like very spiteful. Finnan prayed with, like, we took Finnan to Torin's gravesite, and like Callie offered up a prayer, or no, Kokni offered up a prayer to Arathis, I think, and his will blinded Finnan for like an hour. And was like, no, you don't get to go anywhere near any other forms of prayer. Like Nepi prayed with Finnan, or Finnan was close to Nepi praying, and also he was like blinded and deafened. So his will was pretty shitty and kind of toxic and decently abusive to Finnan, and it was not great. And Finnan, so we were, no. Then you tell me. We were on our way over to Barmwich, which was the city that Yana was from, and we had heard that there was some weird goings on, and we wanted to investigate what was going on. So when we went underground,
let me just back it up there.
Back it up. Yes.
Letters keeps the existence of Volketh to himself. This is just his invisible friend who he talks to in his head, and it starts slowly learning Undercommon a bit because Clack speaks it. Volketh is picking up words in Common, and we end up in Barmwich. All sorts of spooky shit. There's mind flares. We'll get to that in the arcs.
Chatwater, we'll get there.
But importantly, down in the like dungeons of it, we find this one room where there's like 4 suspended animation tubes.
It was like a laboratory. There was like a bunch of equipment. Then there was like brain sucking, like distilling equipment, which we took and we've used. But that's Chatwater. We'll get there, and we'll talk about the brain drugs later.
It's in Letters' secret lair. But suspended animation people. One of which was this drow individual, and we did know that Undercommon is the language of most commonly used by the drow. And so we walk by, and I'm in like investigating it and whatnot. And like when I go by this drow body in the head, Volketh starts going doot 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 doot,
like little sonar going on.
Like because we don't have the language for it. But I had told him that's like, hey, when we get the chance, like telling this in my head, I was like, hey buddy, like when we get the chance, I promise we'll get you a body. And so he's going doot 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 on the body. I'm like, guys, I was like, no, not now. And Volketh just goes, promise. And I'm like, oh hell. So
you told the party about Volketh at this point. So we all knew, and we were all just like, okay, there's a guy in a ring that's talking to you. All right. We don't really know anything about that. And
we smash open the case. Body falls limply to the ground. I touch it with the ring of mind shielding, and riddly scat, the ring like goes onto this body, or no, I put the ring onto the body. That's it.
You put the ring onto
the body.
And this drow was like not alive. Like there was like no life signs in this drow.
Very dead.
At all. So like the container breaks, a sloosh, splosh, splosh, splosh. Like body falls to the floor, Letters put the bind on. It just like pops awake. He looks at Letters and he fucking teleports out. He's gone.
Teleports out. What a G. And what an absolute legend. What
Neppy was ticked. Neppy was so mad. She was like, how rude. Like, because she'd been like, we did this for you. You didn't even say thank you. Like
And you did relay this to Volketh in Ascending later on.
I did absolutely send to Volketh.
When we had a downtime, you sent a strongly worded mental letter.
I did. Neppy, if anybody's going to send a strongly worded letter, Neppy is absolutely the character to do so. So she sent him a message and was just, and I don't think she heard anything back. And letters had sent to Volketh a couple times, asking about non-detection when we were trying to figure out.
That was on stream. They saw that.
Was on stream. Yeah. Like how to protect Kokanee. And it was.
Volketh came through on that one.
He did. Yeah. But Neppy's never trusted him ever. So, and then Neppy scried on him during the 2 week, or just after that 2 week. The episode was A Comfortable Fortnight, so it was the one right after that. Just before we were heading down in the money pit, like the morning that we left, Neppy scried on him and saw him standing out front of a cave with like this big, 15-foot like path that had been carved by one creature into this cave, holding a piece of saracite. He just like looked up at her and just went, like he could see her through the sky, and he just went, doot. And I'm just like, oh, motherfucker. I'm so mad. I was like, and I was like, this is bad. This is so bad. I was so it was so not okay.
So the whole journey of Volketh has been letters being like, this guy's sick. We shared my brain. Like, we're bros. And everyone else being like, oh, I don't know about this, but we don't have like evidence that he's a dickhead. And like letters is pretty like pro this guy. So I guess we'll let it slide.
And then Neppy's like, this guy is bad. This guy is bad. Like she's the only one really like chiming up about how bad Volketh is.
And so when fucking Relauven's like, yeah, sick farmer, Letters was like, nice.
Yeah, I saw the like look of complete and utter, just like, you were so chuffed in that moment. You were just like, he was a good guy. He's a farmer. Yeah. Much smug. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, yeah, just like maybe like fucking Drow, like maybe where he's from, they're just rude. Maybe they're just like circa 1970s New Yorkers. Like that's just like what they did.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And so for folks who weren't quite following along what happened, so Relauven essentially told Finan the story of his, when he was like assassinated essentially by this Illyrian, someone who was a friend to his family named Rysel of the Violet Hills. And so what we're figuring, where we think happened, we're not quite sure, is that Rysel had the ring of mind shielding on when he died, went into the ring, and then Letters picked up the ring. Whatever body seemed, good that was around, hopped back into it.
Now, this is interesting point. It is that underneath Barmwich in the meat prison, where we found this body in stasis.
Thank you.
That is where Finan met Relauven.
Yes,
he found like a piece of saracite somewhere. And so like it was the meat prison was like located in an ancient Drow abandoned city, like where Relauven hails from.
Because Relauven is the son of the first Drow. I believe his name is Veyron, and the queen of the Illyrian, like the Illyrian queen, Zandalar. So he is their child, and was kind of like, which is why Rysel called him mixed blood, because the Illyrians were elves and the Drow are Drow. They're also elves, but different. So Relauven, like in the midst of this civil war, his mother's people versus his father's people, when they separated, there was this huge civil war, and Relauven was basically like, anybody who wants to not do this and not be a part of this, like refugees, essentially, come with me and I will guide you to safety, and took this giant populace of Illyrian and Drow and mixed race elves underground into this beautiful city below Barmwich. where he kind of was just kind of like in charge down there. And there was this beautiful lake that was underground, and it definitely tried to get into your mind because all the mind flayers were down there and the elder brain was down there. But Callie picked up Finnan because he saw the spear, the staff, or that he carries now. He saw that in the lake. She picked him up, flew him over top of where this thing was, and dropped him in the lake. He swam down, had to make like 3 or something wisdom saving throws to prevent his mind from being overtaken. Managed to succeed them, and he grabbed the staff, and she pulled him back. She pulled him back out, and that's when that night he attuned to the staff, and basically Relavin kind of pushed Dave out, or Finnan like abjured Dave, and in doing so, Dave, his will blinded Finnan. Permanently, like scorched retina, cannot be fixed kind of blinding. But Relavin was able to instruct Finnan on, like, there was the set of like Ceresite shards that we had found in the like through the laboratories, and to basically put the shards into a set of goggles, which is what Finnan wears now so that he can see.
Now, Finnan had always worn those goggles because they gave you an extra like 60 feet of dark vision.
Yeah, dark vision.
Or no, they doubled your vision, or they doubled your dark vision, and he had like super dark vision anyways. So like the goggles were already very familiar to him, and they just made them like super and magical.
So that he doesn't need to actually see that the Ceresite now helps him see. I am like, the fact that we're like, Rysel is very old. Like Rysel is very, very old. And he has been not in stasis. He's just been in that ring for like over 5,000 years. Like the Illyrians were a race of people, like the group of people that were around like well pre-Dawn War. So that's at least 2,300, and then at least 5,000 years before they had unparalleled technology. They used Ceresite to power skyships. So in the other campaign that I'm in, that's set on Ishion, the party that we have has a skyship that is powered by a giant shard of Ceresite.
Oh, cool! We should find them and take it from them.
Nope.
Yeah.
You can't take
it that sounds
you
fun.
Can't take it from Lorem Liberum. Absolutely not. So like, and we've like, and like, not to give too much away, because I guess I can give a little away. We've met like one of the people who thought they were the last of the Illyrians, in a city where they were like, we are like this powerful family of people who have Illyrian blood in us, and my warlock Drew is like in love with like one of the last folks from the Illyrian bloodline in that royal family, or the noble family. So it's like Illyrians, they're out there.
Nice. Get in there and hook us up with some Ceresite.
Yeah, Volketh's great grandson is
it could be, actually.
Probably is.
Rysel's.
Rysel's great.
I'm gonna have to start referring to him as Rysel, and that's gonna be hard for me.
Maybe Volketh can be like that nice friend that you had in your mind, because his name is not Volketh, it's Rysel.
His name is not Volketh. Well, maybe the original Volketh, the pleasant farmer, is in a different ring of mind shielding somewhere out there.
I like, one thing I find funny is that you guys had you discovered now that Rysel was Volketh and he was trapped in this ring.
Yeah.
And
total G.
But no one has asked the question, like, if you get, so underneath Barm, which was this city, that's where he found the staff.
Yes.
That's where we assume Relalvin died or ended. If Rysel ended at a similar time, because I guess I'm assuming that if he kept going much longer, there would be much larger machinations.
Yeah.
But if he ended at a similar time, he would have gone into the ring, which means that Adonis would have either traveled to the bottom underneath Barnwich to get the ring, or would have come into the ring in a different way
I am convinced that Adonis just doesn't know, because Adonis doesn't know what's in his he doesn't know what's in the shop. He just like makes trades with people and gathers stuff from different people passing through. Like, also, who knows what you could find in Adonis's shop?
Yanis, I'm sure I don't have to quote the first act of Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring to you, but like, there's all kinds of folks who find rings in deep dungeons and then take them to unlikely places. Like, fucking, what's his name? Rysel?
Rysel of the Violet Hills.
Rysel could have been doing like doot with like a hobbit for like 400 years before like
finding a body.
That hobbit like wandered into, you know, like passed out on the streets of like where was some street, and then like fucking Adonis walks by, is like, ooh, shiny, puts it in his pocket.
Adonis was in Spellen, but is now in Wolfreen because he took over Erkin's own old shop.
Over the course of 5,000 years, that ring could have changed hands. Who knows how many times?
Listen, I'm not trying to cast
Rickathon.
Rysel.
I'm not trying to cast suspicion on our favorite Adonis. All I'm saying is he took over Erkin's shop. He sold you Rysel's ring. I'm just saying he's at the center of a lot of very strange things.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, I know things about Adonis that I can't share here because they're going to be played out at some point that Neppy absolutely doesn't know. So I'm not going to, but there is reason why Adonis is kind of at the center of all of this stuff. And that is just something that's going to have to play out at the table. My sense is it will likely play out at, you know, when we're still streaming at my next birthday one-shot, or maybe before that. Like if anyone wants an Adonis one-shot before then, because we love an Adonis one-shot. So there's big reasons why Adonis is kind of interwoven as much as he is. I love Adonis. He's great. But who the flip knows what is in that guy's shop? Honestly. I mean, Kale maybe.
He's trying to inventory. It's a hot
instilling
mess.
a systems that Adonis does not want at all. Just be like, please Daddy, adopt this organizational system.
He catalogs, and when he goes back, none of the shit's there anymore. And it's all different shit. And then he was just getting a handle on it, and then Addy wanted to move shops, and so now it's, you know, resetting everything up.
Just open an interdimensional like plane and everything just spills out, and he's like, Adonis is like, perfect. That's great.
Kale's just like...
Kale needs his own assistant. Kale needs to get like a fucking ring of unseen servant so that he can just get his own little help
all over the place. Like... More kale salad. Kale salad.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cast unseen servant and tell it to come up with an algorithm to like predict where the like how everything switches within that store. Like that's what you need, computing power.
But see, the thing is, I feel like Adonis would be opposed to that because I think he likes the chaotic nature of the store.
It would disrupt the chaotic harmony that he's created.
Takes all the fun out.
Creative chaos. I live with someone who lives in creative chaos, so I know what that's like.
I think those things oftentimes go hand in hand.
Yes. What I love about Adonis too, and I know we've talked about this before, he was created completely on the fly. Like there was no plans for Adonis, and now he is definitely like one of the more well-known NPCs and one of the party's most beloved NPCs for sure.
Well, here, let's get back on track. What other NPCs, important NPCs, do we got to nail?
I mean,
we're like an hour in. We've talked about two.
Kimea Skysinger is actually next on this list.
Have we never talked about Kimea?
We've never really talked about Kimea. We know who she is and that she's the Queen of Wolfreen now, but we haven't done a lot of talking about. We've talked a little bit about her in the past, but what we probably haven't talked about is Rudan and Galea Skysinger, her parents. Yes, and Cassian Skysinger, her uncle, who we've come into contact
with. We met him. He was at the fight. He was like,
yes.
Callie, you want to fight in my place? And Callie was like, hell yeah, you silver fox. Like,
yeah, Cassian.
He's hot, right?
He's hot. Like, yeah. He's a monk. He's like a monk druid.
A muid.
Sure.
He specializes in cows.
He's a drunk.
He's a drunk. No, he is. So he is the high priest. He's like somewhere between a cleric and a monk and a druid. The high priest, I believe it's of the Cerulean Temple, in Pegor in Ishion, which is one of the main temples of Melora. So Callie is from Ishion. She's from the Labyrinth of Glass, which is kind of across the continent. It's just this archipelago of islands, and sometime, if you're a follower of Melora, you make this pilgrimage to the Labyrinth of Glass. And you can go there and you can stay, or you sometimes come back. But Callie was originally there with a group of paladins, which is Taya and the order that she was with that were massacred by the Baron. But yeah, Cassian is the high priest at the Cerulean Temple. Yeah. And her parents, Rudan and Galea. Do you remember Rudan and Galea, Sean?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it's old chatwater days where Sean just riffs on everything I tell him.
They're Callie's parents, Rudan.
Nope, they're Kimea's parents.
Callie's parents-in-law.
They're her parents-in-law now, yes.
They're really her parents, like now. Like they really bond. They like each other. They hang out. Yeah, so Rudan and the other one are Galea. They are big boy druids. They're big druids. They turn into bears. They spend a lot of time as animals.
They actually don't spend any time as animals.
They spend time as monstrosities.
That's correct.
Because they are freaky deaky druids.
They are special druids that, so Tim has homebrewed a subclass of druid called, what did we call it? The Circle of the Bond. So it is a subclass. We're still in the works. We're still working out some of the nitty gritty with it, but it's a group of druids who commit to that they can only wild shape into one type of monstrosity. And these are all the folks who live in Alderwood, within the Alderdon Forest, which is the place on Wolfar where the rift between the material plane and the Feywild is the thinnest. So they live on the edge of the Alderdon Forest, and to go to the Feywild, you have to walk through the Alderdon Forest, which we have. You have to get lost there by yourself, which we did, and then we had to go through the Alderdon.
You can get lost together. It's just a lot easier to get lost on your own.
Yes. Well, like we tried to get lost together as a group and we were not good at getting lost. So we just all like left each other and wandered off on our own.
Clack and Letters got lost pretty good together.
Yeah. What did you guys have to fight when you were walking through?
Like a ghost?
Yeah, you fought like a
banshee. It was like a really spooky ghost and we were so spooked.
Neppy fought a bone devil by herself and killed it. It was great. I was not convinced I was going to live through that encounter, but did. It was good.
Yeah. That was spooky. So Rudan and Galea, let me tell you about this. So they are the ruling couple of the Alderdon Wood.
Nope.
Yeah, they are.
No.
They are the biggest owl bears in the land.
They are owl bears, yes.
Yeah. And that's how they got their crown. And they had their little baby called Kimea.
Yeah.
And they said, you're going to be such a big owl bear someday that you're gonna take over Wolfar and no one can stop because you're so big and scary with your big beak.
Kimea was exiled from her people.
Yeah, because she wasn't big enough.
I don't think that's true, but we don't know why Kimea was
slightly above average owl bear, and her parents, you're a disappointment to us.
You're too small. Yeah.
Look, your job was to be big. Your uncle's job was to be hot. Look at it. He's killing it. He's so sexy. He's aged very well.
He's aged very, very well. Rudan and Galea, basically when Kimea knew that Callie was traveling to the Alderdon, was like, please don't mention me from there. Like, please don't mention my name. And of course, when Callie met Rudan and Galea as owlbear, she was like, I know another owlbear. And Galea was like, oh, and like she took a letter from Galea to Kimea, and essentially asked Galea which ring she thought Kimea might like. So in a sense, kind of told Kimea's parents that she was going to ask Kimea to marry her, which she did. And it was beautiful. And she used the ring for that Kimea's mom picked. And the Kimea's Rudan and Galea came to their wedding. So that was all.
Okay, so let's dive into this. Kimea was exiled, and we don't know why.
We have no idea why.
You guys don't like answers. Like there will be like a mystery, and you guys will be like, nah, no time.
Well, we've never asked her.
Callie talks to her wife.
Yeah.
8 hours every day, and it's never come
up.
Hey, why were you exiled? Oh my god.
It's not at the table.
Do you think
Kimea
Callie
doesn't
knows?
talk about it. I mean, argue she might, but like Kimea's never talked about it to the party. We've also never had reason to ask. We weren't in Alderwood very long. We were there for a night. We helped them fend off an attack from fiends from the hells that were like seeping through this portal that the Baron had corrupted the Alderdon portal. And there were like creatures seeping through that were hunting Callie. So they were attacking the Alderwood like nightly. They were killing people. There was a rot and a fungus that was like seeping through from the portal and poisoning everyone. And so like Neppy and Kokanee and Finnan and Callie like stayed up through the night healing people as best they could. I think they saved like 45 to 60 people that night from dying. Like Neppy was just like burning lesser restorations to like cure disease all night. Yeah, so that was.
And you never asked.
It wasn't our place to ask. You can't just go up to someone's parents and be like, "Why'd you exile your daughter?" You can't. We were told, like Kimea, we were told not to not to say Kimea's name, and Callie didn't. She just, I don't know. I would argue Callie probably knows. We just haven't heard it at the table yet.
Okay, let's call up Lennon. Let's get a guest in.
Yeah, we'll phone her.
We'll bring in
right
Lennon.
She might be in the chat.
Send Lennon the Zoom link. Let's see if she knows. Can we crack this open? I'm gonna text Lennon.
I don't know if Lennon's gonna want to tell us on air though. You're the one who always says do it at the table.
Should be at the table. Fuck.
Yes. Yeah.
How dare you quote me back at myself?
Saving you from yourself.
So that's pretty much all we know about Rudan and Galay. And then at Callie's wedding, I can tell you what gift everyone who was at Callie and Kimea's wedding contributed a ribbon for their hand fasting ceremony.
I thought they gave a feather.
No, it was a ribbon.
They offered a woven twine ribbon made from the bark of an alder tree and said, "May the roots of your love grow deep." Which is like so pretty and cute. Made me cry.
I will never forget that ceremony because like you reached out to all of us like, hey, bring a colored ribbon and have it be meaningful. And yeah, their parents bring this thing woven of the alder tree. Someone brought like something woven of like moonlight and shit. And yeah, and like all these things like, oh, this is like chained together mithril, and Letters just brought a ribbon that he got like at a dollar store, like at a fabric store.
Hell yeah.
He felt like the person who didn't know that like the like Secret Santa was like, oh, the limit is $20 is what he thinks, and everyone's like, no, it's $2,000, like we're doing a fancy one. And he's like, I brought a roll of duct tape.
What you said was for Letters, it was beautiful.
Oh yeah, stands by it.
Letters offered a tawny brown ribbon. Where I come from, brown represents family. Your family will support you like the earth under your feet.
Yeah, that's just Sean making something up on the spot because he didn't get a good ribbon.
I just gave them a navy blue ribbon, just like a simple navy blue ribbon.
Em, read us what you said because I know you have it there.
I do. I gave them a navy blue ribbon that was flecked with gold, and where was it here?
Actual gold, by the way, not just the color.
Yeah, actual gold.
A navy blue ribbon.
Just a navy blue ribbon. Don't worry about it.
I offered them the gift. I said, I offered them the gift of time. And I said that there is as I help fast your hands on this blessed day of your wedding, the gift I wish to give you is time of the multitudes of years laid out before you in every tomorrow until her grace and the wilds reclaim you both. And there was more.
That actually sounds really relevant to the conversation you had with Callie last session.
Yeah.
Where it's like time is the issue.
I feel like I should just read the rest of this now.
All right, go on then.
It feels fitting. Of the multitudes of years laid out before you, and every tomorrow until her grace and the wilds reclaim you both. When we talk of forever, we often miss the gravity of it, the weight it carries. When most that I meet discuss forever, they inherently mean until the end of their life, that the days that you breathe are all you have, that forever means, or the forever that ends when your heart stops beating. But this is not truly forever. One does not serve a goddess such as mine and take a term like this so lightly. Forever.
I have to interrupt you. You have to do it in Neppy's voice.
You want me to start again?
No, just keep going. But just
okay. Oh my gosh.
One does not follow a goddess such as mine. That's
one
it.
does not follow a goddess such as mine and take a term like this so lightly. Forever means beyond death. Forever means into the great unknown that stands beyond the calls of a mortal life. Forever means always, regardless of anything else, because of and despite and without end. Forever is a bond, a promise, wholly uncompromising and true. May the time you take hand in hand towards forever be electric. And then it goes on and there's a bunch of stuff like that, but that's the bit about time. So
it does occur to me.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about, I wish we could show the viewers at home, these moments.
Yeah.
Though a wedding is the one thing we might be able to recreate a bit because
I have it written down.
Everyone said you wrote down.
I did.
And so just like the vows and stuff,
I've posted it on our Instagram. The script of the wedding ceremony is on our Instagram if you want to go to
we could get all the players
we could do a coronavirus script table read.
A table read of their wedding ceremony?
Of the wedding ceremony.
Aww,
everybody's doing it.
Nice.
Friends did it. You guys can do it.
Oh my gosh. I mean, we could. There's nothing against, but it wouldn't be the magic that it was the first time. We were all in tears by the end of it. It was really beautiful. Really, really beautiful.
NPCs, what do we got? What's left in the tank?
Who's Mara? Sean.
Who is Mara? Mara? Oh, I know Mara.
Who's Mara?
God, I'm such a nerd. All I can think is Mara Jade, who's like Emperor Palpatine's granddaughter in the OG expanded universe.
I'm gonna give you a hint. It's not that Mara.
It's not
Mara Jade.
Much less impressive, but still wonderful.
Who the fuck is Mara? Honestly, I know exactly who Mara. Yeah, give me a hint, and then I'll riff off of that.
She is someone who would interact with Kimea quite a bit.
Okay, Mara's a head of state.
Nope.
She works for Kimea.
She does.
Nessa and Neva work for Kimea. No one else does. Wait, is she like the admiral or something?
No.
Is she one of the seven that I forgot that one time?
No.
Mara? Wait, how do you know this, Yanis?
Yanis has access to the show notes.
Okay.
I read the show notes before every episode.
I'm saying Mara has never come up. Never since we started streaming.
No, she has actually come up on chatWater before.
Yes.
On chatWater, but never at the table.
No, I don't think at the table.
Not on stream, no, but at the table.
Okay,
yes.
All right. Okay, I can work with this. All right, so Mara is a subordinate to Kimea?
She's employed by Kimea, yes.
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily say subordinate. I would say that's probably the wrong terminology for who she is in relation to Kimea.
Okay, so she's on the payroll, but she's in charge of herself. But she's on
Kimea's personal payroll. She's not on the Wolfreen payroll. Not on the
Wolfreen payroll.
Oh, so Mara's not on the books.
She's probably on the books, but she's probably not paid.
I love the direction you're taking this, Sean.
She's probably not paid for by the people of Wolfreen. She's probably paid for by Kimea herself.
Okay, so Mara is paid by the people of Wolfreen. They just don't know about it.
Sure.
Because Mara is Kimea's fucking spy master. That's the thing. She works for Kimea, but really she answers to herself. She has a complex network of informants and spies throughout Terrace. And she does have a license to kill. She issued it to herself, and who's gonna take it from her? She's 7 feet tall, blazing green eyes. 100%. A big old braid right down to her butt. The funny thing is, she's so conspicuous, but she's such a good spy that she's so unconspicuous. She can just disappear in an instant. Yeah, she wears a cloak made of the shirts of her enemies that didn't see her coming. It's just
Mara's Kimea's housekeeper, Sean. Mara's Kimea's housekeeper.
That's what the people of
that's the cover.
That's the cover. That's what the people of Wolfreen think.
That's the cover.
Yeah. When the head of finance goes through the books, she's like, Mara, housekeeper. That makes sense. Why are we paying her so much? Don't ask too many questions.
Oh, because she's also a nanny for Jar. That makes sense.
She's not Jar's nanny.
Out. That's a different person?
Jar has a governess, yeah.
Oh my God.
What's her name?
Jar's governess is named Orally.
That's just her cover name. Her real name.
It's Mara.
No, Mara is the housekeeper /
Mara's the housekeeper.
Orally is her real name is Philanthropia Tarask, and she has a storied history that she's trying to. She's got a lot of red in her books, and she's trying to wipe that clean. But Mara's got the dirt on her.
Neppy hired Jar's governess. Neppy and Callie did.
Yeah, Philanthropia is wanted in Garlang. She's a dead woman if she ever shows her
Gar Yang. It's a Y, not an L.
Yeah, you haven't heard of Garlang yet.
I have not.
That's how secret it is.
Apparently not.
Mara knows.
In Garlang, Y's are pronounced as L's.
Sure. Yeah.
To be a good spy, you got to know the local dialect.
Or is Orally our housekeeper? Oh, we have a housekeeper that we never talk about. Mara. Mara's great. Mara has fed us and kept us clothed and alive for a little while we lived in Kimea's house. Because fun fact, we lived in Kimea's house for maybe 3 months in game. We were supposed to stay there a night or 2, and then stayed there for 3 months.
Why?
Completely. Yeah, because our house was getting renovated. Our keep was getting renovated, and we requested some big old renovations. So they took a while, and we were in and out of the city so much that basically we got back from Barmwich, and they were like, yeah, you've been gone for weeks and weeks, and your house is finally ready. And we were like, oh, cool. All of our shit is still here at Kimea, so we'll leave now. And Mara was like, yes, take your things and please go. Please. We've broken a couple tables and put some holes in walls. And
we did bring home a pack of wild dogs that one time.
There was a pack of wild dogs that Finn and Letters brought back. Yes. Yeah, that did happen. And Neppy almost broke a table. Guests. Neppy almost broke a table when she figured out what was happening with the gold, that it was getting turned into pyrite. Neppy almost, yeah. And there was a bunch of Petch that were just living at the house. The Petch were just there while we were gone. It was, and Kimea was like, yeah, the Petch are still here. Just, I'm worried they've gotten them to do some renovations. They've excavated the basement a bit. So that
whenever you get Petch together, they do create their own gravel pits.
Yes, yes.
That's just what they do.
That's just what they do. Okay, so we've talked about Lex, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Who's Lex, Sean? No, we haven't talked about Lex. Who's Lex? Lex Ashvale.
Lex Ashvale. Lex Ashvale, attorney at law. If you are in trouble and you need the defendant that's going to get you acquitted, you talk to Lex Ashvale. High rates, but boy, is Lex worth it. Lex knows every judge in the city and isn't afraid to play dirty.
Lex sounds more like the kind of lawyer who would, if you've been in a car accident and you want to sue. Do you guys remember those ads?
The injury lawyers? Yes.
Yeah.
Bless injury lawyers out there doing good work for folks who need to get proper settlements from
but
their insurance court.
Not the cheesy TV ones from the late 90s.
Yes. A clue for you. Lex was played by one of us at the table.
Oh, Lex. I know Lex. Yeah, Matt played Lex. We love that.
Yes.
Okay, Lex Ashvale, after an unsuccessful accident attorney career, turned to artificing somewhere in the world. I know where.
Wolfreen?
Yes.
Oh, well. So Lex was So Lex had become quite a frequenter of the Church of Arathis and was there and kind of came down to talk to Kokanee after he gave his very first big sermon after the Temple of Arathis was built. So they had spent a few months constructing this temple, and letters put on through like a hell of a block party to get a whole bunch of people to come down. There was lines around the block, and it's this beautiful like circular building with like a round kind of amphitheater style. There's a workbench in the center, and Kokanee stand and like delivered this amazing sermon to all of these wonderful people, and Lex came down to him after, and they tinkered together and crafted something together, and she'd felt the call of Arathis, so she'd started crafting and stuff like that. And Kokanee was like, well, come by the temple more often, like I'm not always here, but like please come spend time here if that's something that's comfortable for you. So when Velsoom took Kokanee's heart out of his chest and he killed him, Neppy was sitting with Kokanee's body on the ship, and she like essentially put Hector, who we'll talk about in a minute, and Kokanee on a horse with her. Or no, she put them in the bag of holding. That's right. Neppy put both Kokanee and Hector, who were both dead.
And his horse.
No, she was riding Shadowfax at that point. Shadowfact, sorry.
Penumbra.
It's the edge of a shadow is called a penumbra.
It's one fact.
This is one fucking Shadowfact. So she took Shadowfact and she went to Lex, and Lex was basically like, hey, or Neppy said to Lex, like, I need your help. Kokanee's been killed. I need to go see Arathis. Do you want to come? And this was also a way that like Matt didn't have to not play as Kokanee, because he was dead, and we knew it was going to be a bit of a slog to like, because I couldn't cast Raise Dead on him because he didn't have all of his body parts. His heart was missing. So if I had cast Raise Dead on him, it wouldn't have worked. So we were able to like bring Hector back, and then Lex came with us because we had travel, like the Garister were through the city, and the Gatestone, like Velsoom had cracked the Gatestone monument, breaking that seal. There were demons running through the city that they were fighting. Like Kalak almost died, Kimea almost died, Callie almost died. So once that was happening, Neppy was like stayed down at the boats while the rest of the crew went towards to fight everything that was happening up at the keep. So Neppy went to see Lex. She went and grabbed all of Kokanee's belongings because she had everything, and then she met the group at the thing and was like, we have to go right now. We have to go to see Arathis right now. And we plane shifted to the plane of ice, which is where Arathis was like just about to seal it off for it to become her domain. So Lex is an artificer. Do you remember Lex's Steel Defender's name?
Yeah, Pooch.
Nope. It's Otis.
Otis? 100%.
Otis, yes, and Otis is a mastiff that Lex has created. Yeah, so Lex, we ran into. We left her in Caradoc. She chose to stay there. We plane shifted somewhere else, or we transported somewhere else. But Lex chose to stay in Caradoc to keep tinkering and crafting and kind of like be at the center of all things Arathis when Caradoc was like unfrosted out of the ice. So that's Lex.
Nice.
We've talked about Neva, right?
Yes, Neva. I know Neva. Let me fucking tell you about Neva.
Just one question before we do Neva. Yeah. What happened to Shadowfact? Did he die?
Shadowfact is so Finnan with the staff of Ralauvin and cast
Phantom Steed,
which is a shadowy horse that Finnan has named Shadowfact, and that every time Shadowfax. So when every time it shows up, it just says a fact about shadows, but it's the same fucking fact every time.
So here's the thing, a little peek behind the curtain. His name was Shadowfax.
Yes.
And so he opened with the edge of a shadows called the Penumbra. But then the next time he summoned a Shadowfax, he couldn't think of another fact, so he just went with the shadows, the edge of Penumbra. So now it is canon that its name is actually Shadowfact. And it knows a fact.
One fact about shadows. That's
the edge of a shadow is called a Penumbra, and it says it every time. It's kind of like a Pokemon, where that's all it can say. It can't say its name, but it can tell you that
it does whinny. It does whinny like a typical horse does. But at the beginning, when it's summoned, it says it's one shadow fact, and then it's all horse from there on out.
Traditionally, phantom steeds can speak. Shadowfact is special.
He's a special horse.
He's a special horse
He's a
made of
special
shadow
boy.
who can only tell you one fact about shadows, and that is the edge of the shadow is called a penumbra.
Rides very fast.
Very
fast. Neppy has ridden shadow fact.
Quick of the feet, not quick of the brain.
No, one fact about shadows. Maybe one day he'll get more facts about shadows, but
I hope not. No, he's
that
in
day
too
is
deep.
not this day. That is not this day.
You don't get to commit that hard to a bit and a pun and bail on it on like take two.
This is true.
It is shadow fact singular, and every time it shows up, it has to remind us what a penumbra is.
I love it.
Because I don't know if you know this, but it's the edge of a shadow.
I'm sorry I derailed you from Neva.
No,
Please
tell me about Neva.
That is the whole thing. This is everyone is supposed to derail. We're actually doing pretty good. We're cracking through our list here.
This is the one I know though, and I'm so excited. Neva is what's Callie's wife's name?
Kimea,
I know. I've only said her name like 8 times today. Neva is Kimea's personal bodyguard.
Yes.
Importantly, you might not think it, but Neva does not know about Mara's secret identity.
No.
Neva is by the book. She's on the book. She's big, tough, mean. Well, not mean. Strict.
Yeah.
Real tough love kind of lady.
Absolutely. No bullshit. She's very straight up. She's like, I think she's human. Tim might have to correct me on that. But in my mind, she's a halfling, but I don't think she is.
No, she's big. She's a big
No,
lady.
She's not big. She's big
shorter personality.
Big personality. Very straight up, no bullshit. So one of the big things that Neva has done with the party, sorry, there's an ambulance driving down my street. One of the big things that Neva's done. So Torin, when we were originally fighting towards Gatestone Keep, Torin split off to go kind of rally people in the like more lower class districts in the slums of Wolfreen, because there's kind of more impoverished districts in the town as there are in any place. So he kind of rallied the townspeople through, and Neva went with him to help keep him like alive, and he fought side by side along like to kind of destroy some elementals and kind of so allow this group of people to get through to the city to help us defeat Zacchus and the onslaught of chaos that he brought to Wolfreen the very first time. Neva's a badass, and we love Neva. She's always
Neva's weapon of choice.
It is dueling. I think they're either 2 short swords or daggers.
Tight.
Yeah,
love that.
I think it's 2 short swords though. She's not a like traditional class. I think she's statted out like a monster would be. I think she's like a skulker or something like that. So she's very good in the sneaky. She's very sneaky, very quiet, and she'll kill you if you fuck around. She's great. Okay.
We must never invite her on the show then.
No. Terran. Who is
the name of our planet.
No, that's Terris.
No, that's the plural.
Oh, okay.
Like multiple Terran is Terrace.
Oh. No.
Terran.
Not
okay,
Torin.
Rather than you give me a hint, I'm going to ask you a subjective question about
sure,
Terran.
Please. Yeah.
Does Terran separate his recyclables? Their recyclables.
I would argue that I will use pronouns he. Yes.
Okay.
I would say he would be someone who would separate his recyclables. Yeah.
Okay.
Quite fastidious about it also.
Okay. Does Terran check in with his mom enough?
Probably not as much as she wants him to, but enough that he thinks is probably a good amount.
Does Terran like his job?
Well, he didn't when we met him.
How about now?
Yeah, I'd say he's probably a bit more satisfied than where we found him. I don't know if we could call it work, but he's way more happy than when we found him. And there's some magic that went down with him.
Okay.
You get one more question, and then I'm going to tell you who he is. If you don't suss it out, I'm going to tell you who he is.
The recycling question did not give me as much as I'd hoped.
And sorry, the mom one did?
Yeah, no, I got a good picture of Taryn's mom and his relationship with her. It's all mom issues. Like the point is,
sure.
Taryn, okay, Taryn. Okay, this will crack it wide open.
Absolutely, go for it.
If Taryn opens up a tub of Neapolitan ice cream, does he go strawberry, vanilla, chocolate, or some sort of medley of the three? Is he a purist, or does he mix it up?
Oh, I think anything that came close to any form of soup would be no dice for him. So melty ice cream. Melty ice cream. He wouldn't fuck with ice cream. I don't think he'd fuck with ice cream.
Okay, so I got it. Taryn is from the 9 hells because the only person who wouldn't fuck with ice cream is a demon.
Okay. What if I told you? What if I gave you Taryn's race? Would that be helpful? Taryn is a gnome.
Cool. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Nothing.
Doesn't help you.
So he's from Shinkick.
No. We found Taryn in the Underdark, hiding in a building, after running away from giant spiders that were in the Underdark, and we left him there.
Wait, did he survive?
Yeah. No. We kind of took him with us.
Then why are we talking about this guy?
No, he did. We brought him back though. So sorry, backing up. We found this dude who was in a cage in the laboratories of the Mind Flayers. This was separate from the main building where everyone was imprisoned. A lot of the people who'd be down there. He was just in a cage being experimented on. So we freed him and brought him with us. But we were like, we're going somewhere very dangerous. You can't come. So stay here and we'll come back and get you. Neppy left him with 2 scimitars and was like, you're going to be okay. We'll come back for you. We came back for him and he was not okay. He'd been dragged out by a spider and killed. And we had left him essentially to die. And that was really bad. So we took him above ground. And we were like, I will cast Raise Dead on him because that's the right thing to do, but we need people to help with the ritual. So we found his friends who were all in this weird
musicians.
They were musicians. They were in this really awful band, and they played this awful song, and somehow it brought him back to life.
You just didn't understand their sound, man.
Yeah, no, not the music. The Neppies.
Let me ask you this, Emma. What was the name of their band?
I don't remember it offhand, but I have it written down.
Yeah, the notes. This is important to me now. I forgot that we knew musicians. Oh, it's because they operate out of fucking Barnwich.
Yes.
Because otherwise they would be the house musicians of the Blackwater Barn and Grill.
The Blackwater Barn and Grill.
You can source them. Ask them if they want to move. Come take up residency.
Actually, I guarantee you their prospects in Barnwich are not
where
great.
Are we here? We call for friends of Taryn. We go to the Scale and Ale pub. His friend's name was Chibuso, who was the front man who played guitar, Bertram, who played a fiddle, and Chem, who played the pipes.
Yeah.
They didn't have a band name. It's written out that they didn't have a band name because they were still workshopping one.
See, I asked this question on the day. Because if someone has
Tim was like, "We're still workshopping one."
Right.
But
see, that's why I can't employ them. No.
They retched when we brought Torrin out because he was all Taryn, because he was had been essentially sucked dry by a spider.
Super soupy, so soupy.
Yeah. And we attempted Raise Dead. Neppy had to reach farther than she'd ever had to, but he did cross back. And Callie basically took a bottle of tequila and was like, well, shit, this is gross. I'm leaving.
Okay, so we have a marginally talented musician.
Yeah.
Who owes
without
us
a band name. Who kind of we kind of owed him one and we brought him back. And that was, I feel like we're even now and I don't think he wants anything to do with us anymore.
I feel like he would have been dead if we hadn't come along, and he's not dead now, so.
That's probably true. Okay, who's Hedgehog?
You're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here.
Hedgehog, depending on who you talk to in the party, Hedgehog was a beloved NPC.
Okay, Hedgehog.
I think he was beloved. No, I think he was beloved to Callie. Oh
Yana.
no, it was Yana.
Yana.
I remember on the AMAs.
Mm-hmm.
Someone talked about Hedgehog.
Yeah.
I don't remember what they
Hedgehog
said.
has come up. I think Hedgehog was a big orc.
Goliath.
a Goliath is just a big orc. Like,
okay.
they're big mountain orcs. They're the same thing. He was a big boy, and
big boy.
He's a big boy. If he could have been an owl bear, he could have taken over the world.
I think Yana used to ride on his shoulders so she could play basketball with all the other kids.
I mean, Hedgehog. I think if Yana had her way, she would have ridden on Hedgehog's shoulders for as long as he would have let her. So Hedgehog was an NPC from our very first session of Dungeons and Dragons that we ever played as a party. So Hedgehog was a Goliath in the tavern where we first met, and Yana challenged him to an arm wrestle, and he let her win. Because he just took a shining to her because he thought she had a lot of like chutzpah and was like, you're sweet and great. And like they had like 5 or 6 arm wrestling competitions. And then we actually found Hedgehog, Neppy scried on Alamir. And when he was
Kokanei's dad.
Dad, yep.
Yeah.
When he had gone to Toran and essentially it was inside a desecrated temple of Pelor, and he had killed Hedgehog because Hedgehog had been trying to protect the seal. So I think Hedgehog might have been a prime guardian, which is pretty sad. I don't know. Tim would have to confirm that, but he was trying to protect the seal. That is sad
because we want better for our children than for them to become prime guardians. I mean, we hope and we pray, but sometimes they just take a path. And what do you do?
When Neppy told Yana was so upset that Hedgehog had been killed, and there was no way we could get to Toran to bring him back. So, R.I.P. Hedgehog. Sean, you're gonna love this one. Zelix.
Oh yeah, Zelix. Let me tell you about Zelix. Zelix is
Please
great.
dish about Zelix.
Zelix, aka Skrillex.
At this rate, we may actually get through the whole list. Like, this is wild.
Zelix, whilst in the meat prison,
below Barmwich.
Below Barmwich, run and facilitated by mind flayers.
Many mind flayers.
Many mind flayers. We came across this odd mind flayer in bondage, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Like in some sort of
in a cage.
Mind cage.
Yep.
And it was short. It was smaller, much smaller than your average mind flayer. And what we understood about Zelix is that he had been made wrong. And so he was very much a mind flayer who had a disdain for mind flayers.
He was still the size of a gnome and had a lot of the same features as a gnome, except for the little tentacly bits, and that he could float.
And so Zelix, we're like, hey, we're fighting these mind flayers. You want to come along? And he was like kind of grumpy about it because he was just a generally grumpy individual. But he came along, helped us fight the bad guys. And then at the end, he's like, I got to go do my own thing. I got to find out what and who I am. And so he's on a journey of self-discovery in the astral plane right now.
He is. He took a Nautilus shell and essentially plane shifted himself out of there and was just like, bye, and see you later, losers. And he left. He helped us fight the Elder Plane and then peaced out. He was gone.
Zelix is kind of like the dark reflection of Volketh in that he like was like kind of rude and whatnot, but like actively helped us and then just left and we've had no reason to distrust Zelix ever since.
No, because because Finnan was going to explore this area of the city that we hadn't investigated, and we were like, no, like we got to go fight the Elder Brain, like we have to do that right now. We have like Zelix with us, like we have to go right now for like the greater good of everything. And Finnan was like, no, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna investigate this area by myself. And we were like, please don't go. And he was like, I'm gonna go. And we were like, please don't go. And he was like, I'm gonna go.
In the defense of Adam, because he was at this point, we had like basically cleared the city except this one little block, and there was all these people that we'd kept safe. We'd freed from the meat prison, and his mind was, if we leave these people alone, they will fall prey to the mind flayers.
Absolutely. And we were all like, please don't go. And
please don't go.
Of course, to Finnan, like that was not acceptable. So he went, and we were like, well, we'll wait for a couple minutes and then we're gonna go. So Finnan died, and then we went Shadow Fact, whinnied, and as he dissipated, and we ran and saved Finnan, and then went back to fight the Elder Brain with Zelix. Yeah, and ended up defeating the Elder Brain. Thank gosh.
That was the place where Finnan got his brain eaten.
Yes.
And Neppy had to fish it out of the
Mind Flayer stomach. Yeah, I did that was my first brain surgery. Yeah, not the last one, but the first one.
That wasn't so much surgery as like a 3D puzzle where you had to parse which parts were brain and which were just like general viscera, and also which parts were Finnan's brain, and we didn't quite nail that.
No. I mean, I rolled a very high medicine check, but realized as I was putting his brain together that there was a bit of something else stuck to that, and I was like, I'm not going to take the time. I can't. I cannot excise this. That is too dangerous. And so, like, also, if anyone is squeamish, I think we've talked about this already, but if anybody is squeamish, please just like take off. Don't listen just for like probably the next 30 seconds. I'll tap my ears again when you can put it back on. Yeah, we strained Finnan's brain out of a Mind Flayer's stomach through one of Kokanee's shirts. We just poured it out and then put his brain chunks back in, and we're like
a cheesecloth.
That's like a brain. And Neppy's like, yes, this is what a brain looks like. I've seen a brain before. We're going to try and put this together. And I rolled a high enough medicine check. I was like, lots of prayer, and prayed and fixed him.
What bonus material did he get?
He got a piece of dwarven brain. And so he could read
Dwarven but not speak it.
Read Dwarven but not speak it. But he gave it up in the study to Ioun. That was one of the things that he gave up to have a question answered, because he didn't think it would ever be useful. And it would have been useful.
Could have read all that smut. So Zelix is this kind of big unknown, but like a general like he's on our team. He's a positive. If we ever go to the astral plane,
which we're probably going to have to.
Probably going to have to deal with Cora. Who's probably a Mind Flayer.
She's for
sure.
We're
probably gonna come across Zelix again, and I look forward to it.
I am gonna cast Sending to Zelix and be like, "Yo, dude, where are you at? What do you know?" And then we'll try and go to him. Okay, tell me about Chi.
Oh, Chi, we love Chi. We crash at her house all the time.
We crash at Chi's place all the time.
Chi is the high priestess of Hafa.
Nope, that was the one you made up. It's Akkadi.
Yeah, it's Akkadi. The air elemental, the big one.
Primordial, yep.
Primordial, that's the one. And Akkadi was originally Tim's mom's character.
Chi was, Tim's mom's character. Yeah.
Yeah, and so she's like this delightful old Aarakocra.
What? Tim let his mom play a primordial god? That's quite honestly, an OP character.
That tracks though, like truly. Yep. So Tim's mom, who we all love and we all know, was staying with Tim and I one time, and we had talked to her about D&D, and she was like, "Can I play with you?" And we were like, "Yes, please play with us." So completely. Like helped her roll up a character. And she played in a kind of like a side little quest episode and we loved Chi so much that we were just like, oh my gosh, please come back anytime as Chi. Chi was originally captured by Zakis. Chi is an Aarakocra. She is an
bird
eagle.
Person.
Yeah, she's an eagle Aarakocra, and she's a cleric. She's a nature cleric of Akkadi. And we found her essentially in like a torture chamber. Where Zakis had been torturing her, and we saved her, and we got her out, and she then left and went back to her plane.
And so whenever we have to jump planes, we often, well, it's nice because now you have plane shift, so now we can like plane shift to her temple and then immediately jump out. But it used to be, because we just had the necklace, we'd have to plane shift in and be like, hey, we're staying the night. Until this thing charges, and we'd have to eat their weird bug food. And because they're birds, and so they eat seeds and yuck. And
everything in the airplane is built for people who can fly, and we can't fly. So
there was that really lovely time where Kokanee and Neppy had that date in the Cloud Giant Market.
Yes, it was so nice. I think I'm frozen a little bit here.
Yeah, you're coming through a little crackly there, Anne.
Sorry, it's my internet. It's being bad. Give it a second here.
Okay.
Sussing it out.
Exercise the internet demons.
Yes, exercising my internet demons. We're gonna try something here. Hold on.
Okay.
Is that better? Is that better?
Yes.
Oh, sweet. It's my power cord. That's why. Okay, well, we're just going to really hope my laptop doesn't die. So there was a really lovely day where Neppy was like, I really want to go to some markets. And Letters was like, cool, here's Fly, have fun. And so Neppy was like, oh, okay, great. I only have 10 minutes with this. And she flew off. And then Kokanee was like, can I go? And they weren't together they were together at this point, but they weren't engaged or married or anything. And he was like, Letters, can you cast Fly me? I want to go with Neppy. And Letters was like, yeah, all right. So Letters cast Fly on Kokanee and both of them, and then Letters like trailed behind them and snuck around a little bit to like see what they did on their date, and they just had like a normal date. They went shopping through. Neppy bought this like bobbly, like big, like constellation to them, it must have been something like the cloud giant that she bought it from must have been so small, but for her it was like so big. She bought it as a piece to hang in the front hall of the keep. And she was just hanging out with Kokanee, and then they went and sat on the edge of this cliff and just like hung out for a little bit and went on a date. It was like
just
very nice thing.
Creepy Letters behind the bush.
Well, Letters when he casts Fly on someone has to cast it on himself as well.
Yes.
And so like, wait, that might not be true. The point is that was the thought at the time.
Yes.
No, it is. I don't know. And so like, he was like, well, I've got 10 minutes of Fly. I just want to see what these two are like when they go on a date. Cause they were so like they're two homeschool kids who are like super like proper and polite. I was like, what does this look like? So he was like hiding behind a thing, and they was like, oh shit. Like, hope they don't see me, but his horns, of course, are sticking up.
And we totally knew he was there.
Yeah. Just for the first like 5 minutes, and then he flew back and like got some lunch or something.
Because he still had to get back to the other. And Letters was like, "Are you guys going to be able to get back?" And Kokanee was like, "Yeah. I've got my cape of the mountebank. I'll be able to get back." And we were like, "Cool, great. So we're not just going to fall off a cliff and just die. That's fine. That's good." But yeah, that was like Neppy and Kokanee had been on some dates. They were together at that point, but you don't really get time for a date in an adventuring party like this one, who just tends to bounce all over the place. Yeah, it was nice.
I'm gonna pitch. I would love to see a double date between Kimea, Callie, Neppy, and Kokanee.
I'm living for it. I want that so much.
I want a double date between Finnan, Trixie, Yana, and Clack.
Yes. Simultaneous double dates that happen on either end of a restaurant. Oh, but it's the Blackwater Bar and Grill, and Letters is like going between the two of them, and like, from the table across the bar, and it's just the other party.
Oh my gosh. I guess Kimea and Callie could have a date at the Blackwater Bar and Grill. It's probably one of the only places where Kimea is not going to get just like hounded by people. Because we can just shut the door and be like, hey, Nudge, they're just hanging out now.
Also, at that point, we'll have those 4 ghost dwarven bouncers.
Oh, that's what are you going to put the table in the bar?
No, we'll put it in the keep, but it's all one building.
This is true.
It's 2 different access points to one building. So the dwarves will work for me.
Yes. That's
as
great.
will ultimately half of Wolfreen.
And all of Dresda.
All of Dresda is
But
under
going
my
back
thumb.
to Chi, my internet may be a little bit blippy here, so I apologize.
It's a little blippity blap, but going back to Chi.
Going back to Chi, Tim's mom got to the point with Chi where she's like, not really feeling my speed with Chi anymore. So Tim, you play her as an NPC. And I guess that kind of brings us to our next NPC that we're going to talk about, because I'm determined to get through this list before we end the show tonight. There's not that many left. Who's Verti?
Oh, yeah. Verti is Tim's mom's other character. She's a turtle druid, turtle person. Very old, even for turtles. And is like a river wizard. Not like a wizard, but like she knows waterways. She has a stick, and boy, can she figure out how to get from point A to point B.
Yes, she snuck us into Barmwich from Hartsvale. Like, she essentially like underwater ferried us from Hartsvale to Barmwich.
Now,
was great.
Importantly, subterranean waterway.
Yes.
It wasn't like a submarine.
No.
It was a long cave that was a river.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah. Verdi is awesome. Tim's mom has also played a character in the other campaign that we set in the Terrace world named Gabby von Beekish. So a big ol' shout out to Tim's mom. We love you so much.
What species is Gabby von Beekish?
Also a turtle, obviously.
Okay.
Yes.
Once
Tim's
you go
mom
shell,
said,
the rest can go to hell. That's what we say.
Well, Tim's mom said that if I'm getting her words right, she always felt drawn to like the pace and the kind of lifestyle of a turtle, and said that Gabby's shell was like a little bit more fragile, and like but very adorned, kind of like a very pretty, like a jewelry kind of tortoiseshell-y shell color. So that's why she wasn't as strong as most turtles are, which is great. Tim's mom is a hoot to play D&D with. Also, just any form of RPG with. Sean and Yanis have both played RPGs with Tim's mom, and she's dope.
Total
that is still like, I don't think we're gonna release that one ever,
Not
but
yet.
that was one of the most wild games I have ever played in my entire life. It is
so good.
It was so good.
So fun. Okay, well, let's go ahead.
There's something special about playing RPGs with people who don't regularly play RPGs, because they heavily lean into things and then they don't lean into other things that you would like. It's like when you're learning to drive and you don't you can't feather the gas and the brake. It's either all or nothing. That's how people start playing D&D. It's either like they're all in on a bit, or they're like completely letting the bit pass them by. It's fantastic.
Also might be an inside joke to this point, but shout out to Grim Caban one time, because I certainly hope some form of Grim Caban makes his way into the Blackwater universe, because I live for that character. Anyway, Horlin and Corman Sandbuck. Who are they?
Horlin and Corman Sandbuck. Now, are these the two gentlemen who had sluggos in their brain that we excised from them and now they're chill?
Corman was, yes, you're correct. And Horlin was his father.
Okay, so no, I'm thinking of the other two dudes, those first guys who had slugs but weren't fully in with the intellect devourers inside them. Yeah. Okay, so back in the Barn Witch. You know what? I'm going to make a pitch that next week we just go straight into the meat prison arc, because we talk about it enough. Yeah, let's go.
I thought we wanted to go reverse order. Then we got to start with
let's be chronically unbound. Let's go in like order of relevance, because we talk about the meat prison all the time. That's when we found Relauven, which is more relevant than ever. That's when like the first big rift with Finnan happened. That's where put him in the pit happened.
That's where put him in the pit came from.
That is where Shadowfact first fucked up the bit and became singular. We got to talk about the meat prison.
Okay.
We got to talk about the meat prison.
We'll talk about the fucking meat prison. All right.
Em had a similar reaction to when you made her ugly cry last week, when you just said, let's go unchronologically bound. There was a part of Em that was like, oh, no.
I died. It's like I was telling, last night I was doing some lore keeping for Blackwater. I reached up to remove my hair or something. I dropped my favorite pencil behind the couch. I'm devastated. I haven't gotten it yet. I have to get it.
Do you need me to come over there and move some furniture?
I mean, I might.
Will.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. No, I'll make Tim move the couch later.
I'm gonna be in Kitsilano tomorrow. I just realized I was like, oh no, I shouldn't say locations live on the internet.
It's okay. Here we go.
But it's a big part of town. I'll be there tomorrow. You want me to come over and move some stuff?
We'll see.
Sean loves moving couches. You say, do you want to move some couches? And Sean's like, I'm in.
Yeah.
So in any case, the same feeling that happened when you said we're going to go on chronologically was the same feeling I had when I dropped my favorite pencil, to the similar emotional response, but very different context from when you made me ugly cry. And now that's immortalized forever on your Instagram. I saw that today and I almost ugly cried again. Because I was like, oh my God, my ugly crying face is on Instagram forever. It's fine.
I mean, you did. Look, when I asked you to send me that clip, Emma, you supplied me with it. I said, could you send me this particular part? And you said, oh, I'll send you this whole thing. So like
I did that.
I opted out for not the ugly cry bit, and you gave me the ugly cry, and I thought, oh, you know what? That is a better clip. I'm gonna have to use that. So
but
like,
I mean, to be fair, that's not the first time I've ugly cried on the internet. Tim made me ugly cry about Ha Day. Tim made me ugly cry about a whole bunch of other stuff. It's fine. My tears
This one
are
is
all
just
over
so
the
good
internet.
because you can like see it happen, like in
that's
live.
my favorite
you
part
can
of
see
it.
The panic
and the tap. It's the desperate tap, and then the.
It's like when you hold a sneeze.
Yeah, many times. No, there's been like, I am a snuffly gross crier. So I was like holding it in so hard. And then there was just a moment where, you were just like so in it and it was so beautiful. And I was just like, I have to turn this off because I'm going to ruin it with my gross tears.
With my gross tears.
So yeah, Horlin and Corwin Sandbuck are two halflings from Barmwich, who Horlin is kind of like this leader of the resistance against the kind of like oligarchy surveillance state that had been created by the Thorn Gauges, who we will talk about next
week.
Oh gosh, I got so much to prepare for. And then Corman was his son, who was a high up captain in the guard, who the Glitter Guard, who had gone missing. So we set out to find him, and he was like, "Please keep an eye out for my boy." And we were like, "Okay." And then we found Corman and got to reunite him with his father.
And now this is one of my favorite moments of like clever mechanics reading of Corman. The whole thing with these mind flayers is
that thing.
If you work for the Thorn Gauges, who are mind flayers, everyone who's higher up is a mind flayer. They'll have like an intellect out. They'll put something in your brain that'll eat your brain and like control you, and you are dead, but something's going around your body. And so Corman had just been promoted to like captain, and that's when you get the bug in your eye that'll eat your brain. And so that had just happened that day, and we got Corman, and I think it was just Corman, and like maybe like
there was a Firbolg that was down there.
There's a handful of individuals who had the fresh bugs in their brain, and so the whole thing is they eat your brain and they become part of you. And so Matt sits there and he asks, at this stage in the like metamorphosis, do the wormies count as the same creature as like Corman and this Firbolg and the rest? And Tim thinks about it. He's like, no, at this point they're still two different entities. And so Matt says, okay, I'm gonna cast Spirit Guardians, which attack anything a certain radius except any creatures you denote as like friendly. Don't attack this, which means Spirit Guardians is the most effective way to deal with parasites.
It's like nanobots.
If you've got like fucking tapeworms, mind flare juice, like I don't know,
smart,
ringworm.
So smart. Like it was just one of those
lice.
One of those moments where we, like Matt he's like, yeah, I'm gonna cast Spirit Guardians, and we were all like, and Tim was like, that's dope. Yes, absolutely, that works.
Because we were so like, there's nothing we can do. Like,
every time Letters gets fleas, he goes and sees Kokanee, and he's like, yo, Spirit Guardians me.
I was ready to like kill them and crack their brains open and get it out and then bring them back. Like that's to the point what we were going to do with these folks. And then Matt was like, no, I'm going to just do this. We were like, yes, that's much better. Please do that. It was great. So that's
also, if you have any vermin in a house, like if you just say, what don't you want to die in this house? And you're like, oh yeah, my family and our pets. Then you could just walk around somebody's house and everything would die. It's like, you actually have to be really quite careful with Spirit Guardians now that I think about it.
That's why
it attacks everything.
That's why clerics cast it. They think we're decently wise people that we can have our stuff together, and
it's extremely localized divine chemical warfare, like because it wraps around corners and whatnot. It's not something you can see. There's just these little like angels that go around and kill rats when you're walking in a sewer. That's perverse.
That's good.
And completely unexploited as a civil service.
Well, it's probably a really good thing that Letters can't cast spirit guardians then.
Yet.
He's got plans.
He's got plans. He's aiming for the divine, maybe.
Multi-class.
Multi-classing. I don't know. We'll see. Okay.
On a long enough timeline, you can learn anything.
This is true. And we all know Letters is going to outlive us all and become a god, so it's fine.
Oh, no. God is aiming too small.
Gods have a bunch of rules and...
Gosh, there's so much, paperwork involved with gods.
See, the problem with gods is to function, you need followers. And that's a lot of external validation that, Letters doesn't want to be tied down to.
That's fair. That's a lot.
He prefers servants to followers.
He prefers employees.
Yeah, followers implies choice.
Okay, moving forward. Let's talk about... So we've talked a bit about Ecterius on one of our other shows. So we probably...
You sure have.
Yeah, do you remember who Ecterius is, Sean?
How could we forget? I mean, we can just skip right over it.
No, I think we should actually talk about who Ecterius is, Sean.
Ecterius is a half centaur, half lizard folk.
No.
Yep. So it's an iguana on the bottom and a horse on the top.
Dear God, why do I let you get away with this? Why do I let you get away with this?
Oh.
Dear goodness.
There were so many better ways you could have gone with that, Sean.
So many better ways, and that's definitely not what Ecterius is. Okay, I'm gonna take the reins full. I'm taking the reins away from you.
You go on vacation in Mexico, and you know how the lizards always crawl out of everywhere. Fucking lizard has a tiny little horse head.
Well, no, this is the thing, because centaurs importantly have 6 limbs. 6 limbs, 4 legs, and 2 arms, and so this Ecterius, what he's got is he's got his 4 iguana legs, and then he's got his horse torso coming out of the iguana. So he has the 2 front horse hoofy feet.
I'm just going to take the reins right now. Ecterius
with the brain and personality of a lizard folk. So he does gain the racial benefit of lizard folk, where he can eat his enemies to regain temporary hit points, which is difficult with horse teeth because they're herbivoreal naturally. So he does kind of have to grind them up.
I had so much hope.
He could run like this.
I had so much hope.
Flip.
Yeah. So when he needs to scale things, he uses his iguana feet. But when he needs to go fast, he actually pops a wheelie and runs on the front Horsey 4 feet. And the 2 in the back,
just
dangle
the tail
for support. Yeah. It's whipping around like a cheetah for aerodynamics, because he does get the speed benefit that centaurs get.
When we first pitched this show, I was really excited to talk with Sean and Yanis about the lore of this show, and then we wind up talking about that. Ecterius.
This is groundbreaking stuff.
This is groundbreaking shit. Ecterius is a gnome. Was a gnome.
I mean, in his heart. Those botched reincarnation spells can really take you for a loop.
So Ecterius, it was the first mate on a ship that we hired. I will just
1 second, real quick, for the record, Tim. I know you're watching. If a reincarnation spell is ever cast, I would love just a 1% chance to become a horrific lizard folk centaur crossbreed. That just needs to be on the list. Thank you very much.
I'd like
pass
to
it over to them.
One day, this show will our Blackwater D&D will attain some sort of level where the Wizards of the Coast let us make our own guide, and we sneak that motherfucker in there.
No. Absolutely not. No.
Ecterius, the globe. Ecterius, the hoof.
The lizard.
Sawyer, if you're watching this, Sawyer, I'm going to shout a big shout out to our friend Sawyer, who played Ecterius as a PC. Sawyer, if you're out there, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So Ecterius was a gnome who was the first mate of a ship that we charted to sail from Icemeet to Manta. Which is just before we started streaming. We had a 3-week journey from Icemeet to Manta. And Yana and Ecterius really hit it off, much to Clack's chagrin. Clack hated Ecterius so much. Ecterius was a ranger. and his big thing was to fight and kill the biggest sea monstrosity that he could. So he was with us for played with us for one session, and then was piloted by Tim for the rest of it. So big shout out to Sawyer. Thank you so much. We love you. Yeah, so that's what happened to. Do you remember the name of the captain of that boat, Sean?
Yeah, Marty Flintstone.
Right, cool. You've butchered her name so many times. It's Cordelia Shade.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And she was a kind of stalwart and pretty straight up captain who was a total badass. And she, was the captain of this ship. And we had to leave.
I recall she felt kind of shisty. Like, she was down to get every gold piece she could get out of us.
I think she was pretty scared about the trip back, and like for good reason. There were like harpies and sirens, or not harpies, sorry, there were sirens around, and like almost killed half the crew. A couple of us went overboard. Somebody was dove. I forget who was it. Letters who was underwater. Did you get pulled underwater by the sirens?
I think I got in the water a bit.
Yeah, you got a little bit swimmy.
Letters doesn't swim. He sank and then he misty stepped away.
That's true. That's
water's for losers.
Waters for losers. So we were on the ship to Manta because we'd never been there before, so we obviously couldn't bounce there.
I don't think Letters can swim. I realize.
Yeah, when would he have ever had to swim?
I mean, look, he's been in the plane for like a year. I just don't think he's learned it. I think that's a fun choice that I'm gonna say is canon right now. Letters can't swim. He's just in heavy armor all the time.
I mean, hooves would be really difficult to swim in. Like swim with.
Horses can swim.
Sure they can.
I guess.
Like, they're not great at it.
Yeah, but it
helps when they have like iguana feet to because they're webbed. So Ecterius is a wonderful swimmer.
Ecterius is probably a great swimmer. Cordelia Shade, great swimmer. So, and she was pretty ticked off when we had to bounce out because Tempa Philenis got attacked. So we plane shifted to Philenis immediately and gave them a bunch of money, and we're like, sorry, we gotta go, for them to sail back to Icemeet. And we also got them a contract with Kimea to like do shipping and stuff like that. But
good, because they won't work for Dresda.
We haven't then heard from them since. Hey, Letters, you want to tell us about Torna?
Yes, I do.
You remember Torna?
Now, importantly, this is Torna, not Tova, correct?
Yes, this is correct.
Okay.
Torna, not Tova.
So, give me the name of the town, because I'm not even going to try.
Oh, the Underdark.
No, where we met Torna.
The Underdark. Below Barnwich.
No, didn't we meet her in that fucking podunk Canadian town?
Nope.
She wasn't from there originally?
She's a Furbolg, but she's not. She might have been from there originally, but that's not where we met her.
Oh, we did talk about it. No, her cousin is from there. Anyway. That is canon. We did talk about it.
You did talk about that.
Yeah, so Torna is a Furbolg barbarian that we met in the meat prison. Yes. So much happened in the meat prison.
So much happened. I'm
come back
excited
next
to go
week.
into
It's
it.
going to be sick. And she and Letters hit it off pretty quick.
Sure they did.
Pretty sort of hot and heavy. And so when we're looking around for spiders after we brought back Cornelius or whatever that fucking guy's name who we talked about earlier this session. Corman, that's the one.
Yeah.
We're like, oh man, we should probably check out that boat, make sure that's clear. I think there were spiders in it and we killed them. And it's like, huh.
No, there was just webs in that boat. The spider wasn't there anymore. But you guys spent a long time investigating that boat.
And by investigating here is a euphemism for sexing each other.
Yes. There was much of that in that boat. And we just were like waiting for Letters to we were just like down the block. We were just like,
yeah, it was just a beached boat on this river. And for the record, like that was like the first fucking hottie that Letters had seen since coming to the earth from the Scar. Because, and this is canon, Letters only sexually attracted to Minotaur and some Furbolg. So like, just because they got like fur and snouts doesn't mean Letters puts outs.
And that's our show. And that's our whole show right there.
Thank you so much for coming to chatWater. We chat everything Blackwater.
There's a couple more on this list, but like, why bother? After that, why bother? Oh my gosh. Yeah, next week we should discuss the meat prison. I think that's a really good idea. We can probably talk about these other folks in context of that then.
Come back tomorrow where we have the new show Chat Waterboy. Come back the Wednesday when we talk Chatty Madison.
But also, like, please actually come back on Wednesday because we are having our Makers one shot, the second part 2 of that, where we have Keisha and Jen and Tiana and Ben and the wonderful, amazing Tim Carlson to lead this ragtag group of adventurers.
Do they get out of the table?
Do they get out of the table?
Are they the ghosts? Are they the ghosts in the table?
Who hired them to go find this table? Ooh, some real Irk, and that's more Irkin lore. I just want more Irkin lore. That's what I want.
You're just lore hungry.
Thank you so much. That's such a compliment.
You don't care about the characters. You just want the lore.
Absolutely.
They can all die for you care. Yeah.
That's not true. I have such strong investment in so many characters. They can't die. I would be so sad. My book would be also.
As long as the lore keeps going.
Do you want to know something pretty crazy?
The book's full.
I would love to.
Is the book full?
The book is almost full. Like,
what are you gonna do?
I have a table of contents, and we only have like 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 more entries that can go in this book, and then I have another book. But
interesting. So there may be more pages available in the book. But since it can't fit on the table of contents, the book is dead.
I was literally having an existential crisis about it the other night. And Tim was like, you could turn the back into like maps. And I was like, that's a really good idea. Because I was like, what am I going to do? I was like, I'm trying to stretch the notes to make them last a really long, like a large amount of pages, because I'm not going to add in another table of contents. That's sacrilege.
Just do a little pull out.
No, Yanis, no.
Like zigzag paper that you can like.
Here is my pitch.
Okay, pitch
for
me.
Just the end.
Just rip them out
for the end. Just Neppy's scratch pad, like.
Oh.
What, like, I'm sure Neppy like occasionally doodles. Like, I'm sure like Neppy maybe like takes a shot at composing poetry for Kokanee or whatever. Like. And so where does she write that down?
You want to see some poetry from the High Priestess is what I'm hearing.
No, what I'm saying is when someone inevitably like looks at this book of Neppy's,
yes,
it would be, I think it'd be a fun little Easter egg if off the record, off the table of contents, there's just like Neppy's corner where it's like, where she's like, oh yeah, I ran out of table of contents, but then she's like out and about, is like, what's Neppy thinking about? Just between Neppy and Neppy.
So this is what you're gonna do. That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna end the book now, and you're gonna rip out that last little corner. Just let me finish. You're gonna rip out that last little corner of table of contents where you would be putting the next couple entries, and you're gonna rip out the last couple pages of the book, and then it's like a mystery. Like there were entries, but they're no longer there.
No.
And then Tim can work in some sort of mind flayer business for you.
No.
And those would be the memories you don't have.
No.
I just remember, I don't know if it was on the air or if we were just talking, but there was, when we were talking about doing a chatWater show, I remember you looking for notes that you couldn't find.
Oh, the lore panic.
The lore panic was filmed, but it wasn't live.
It wasn't live.
But we did air it. Cody cut together a supercut of me panicking about my notes.
It was fantastic. That's what I'm trying to recreate for you.
I don't want that ever again. No, I never want to feel that panicked about notes and lore ever again.
I would love to see Neppy's like ideas for band names that she thinks are good. Like
yes.
Pages
like
and
song
pages
lyrics,
Kokanee plus Nepentha,
restaurants she wants to visit sometime.
How many times did she practice her new signature of Nepentha Lightkeeper? Yeah, like how many is Neppy just like a high school girl who just like doodles in the back of a book? Yeah, probably. Yeah. No, it's to the point with this book that I have another one of the exact same book because I like this book so much that I'm just like I need another one. Just like I need another one. It's
going to be so daunting starting a new one.
No, I already have all the like title sequence pages planned out. It's good to go. This is exciting. I love crafting. It's good.
Thank you all for coming out tonight.
Yeah. We love you guys.
Join us Wednesday for our Meet the Makers, then Saturday 8 p.m. for our regular show, and then we'll be back again Monday for another episode of Chatwater, where we will get into everything Meet Prison, which sounds, I think, as fun as it's going to be. So
yeah,
join us for that. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for joining us.